This will be a special one. I'm bringing on a special guest. This is Billy Nellis here, and you are now listening to Affiliate Marketing Secrets Radio.
So you're probably wondering, how do affiliate marketers like us, who didn't cheat and got results with no advertising budget from start, want to effectively run an affiliate marketing business online? How do we get closer to financial freedom without using strategies that take a toll on our bank accounts? That's the big question, and you will find the answer on this podcast. My name is Billy Nellis, and welcome to Affiliate Marketing Secrets Radio.
I have a little bit of a cold. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I wouldn't let that stop me from recording a new episode for this podcast. So this one will be a special one because it's going to be the first interview that I will have on Affiliate Marketing Secrets Radio, and it's a very special person to me because he has been responsible for my ultimate breakthrough online, and you need to listen to the story of this gentleman, and you'll understand why I was able to get the breakthrough that I got with this person. You know, they say that it's not what you know, but who you know. And I'm glad that this person came along in my journey so that I could discover the right things for me to get results and to put me in a position to show others how to do the same. So without further ado, let's go ahead so that I can make you listen to this interview. It's also going to be part of another project that I'm building that this gentleman also been responsible of me putting it to life. It's an exclusive video interview library where I interviewed 24 top leaders of the home-based business industry. It's called the Seven Figure Minds, and it's also going to be available on the sevenfigureminds.com. Now, let's go ahead. Let's listen to this interview. Get ready to take some notes because this gentleman is a person of value, and he always likes to over-deliver. All right, so listen to this. And the man that I have with me right now, which makes this interview right here, right now, one of the most important ones, not to say that the other ones are not important, but this man has been responsible for my ultimate breakthrough online. I'm talking about getting little to no results to having my first $1,000 day online within 72 hours of implementing what he taught me, what he showed me. And that was life-changing for me till today, right? I can proudly say that I can take any business from the ground up, from nothing to something today, and it's absolutely amazing. And he also have the credits on why this whole project came to life, right? He told me, Billy, you're going to have to come up with your own special sauce, something in the marketplace that is going to make you stand out. I just went ahead. I was coachable, put my ego to the side, and I just did it. So this is why I'm with the man, the myth, the legend, the superhero, my friend Tor, Darren Little. Man, how's it going, man?
Fantastic, Billy. Great to be here, man. Super, super excited. And I got to tell you, dude, I am super proud of you.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, I give you a lot of credits with everything that's been going on in my life and with my online journey, right? If I'm going to talk about the missing link, it really was it, because for the longest time, I thought that the law of attraction was the biggest joke ever. Right. And then one day I said, man, let me just implement this and let me just write out the things that I really want. And my beliefs were really on point right before I came across your teachings and the stuff that you teach. Right. And then it really felt like a relief, because what you were teaching was really what I was missing in everything that I thought with my online business and the knowledge that I had acquired over the years. And it really felt great. It really felt like a relief when I came across what you're teaching. So for those that are going to be watching this, if you tuned in right now, it's one of them that you have to sit down, get ready to take some notes, because this man right here has a lot of value to share. You're going to get a lot of ha-ha moments. So, buckle your seatbelt and get ready for this one, because like I said, is the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae right here. So talk a little bit about where you're from, because I know we're both from the same country. We're fellow. I'm not gonna say the words because you're gonna talk about it, but talk about where you're from and how you came across, how it all started for you when it comes to entrepreneurship, Darren.
Well, I think like most people back in the day, this is back 30 years ago. One day somebody gave me a call and said, "Hey, Darren, you want to go out for some drinks and appetizers?" And I said, "Sure." Right. And, we went for drinks and appetizers at this hotel. And, next thing I know, we were walking down a hallway and we were going into this big, huge auditorium with, probably about 3,000 people. And I watched this guy get up on stage and start drawing these circles, right? And he was really explaining the concept of linear income versus residual income. And, he started off with these numbers, 5, 25, 125, 625. And next thing I knew, there was like, he had these massive numbers, like, 3,000 people. And he basically said, he kept on referring back to this one particular quote from J. Paul Getty that said, "I would rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own." So he looked out into the audience and he said, how many hours would you say that the average person works, right? Would you say it's 8 hours, right? Who here works 8 hours in a day? A bunch of people put up their hands. Who here works, 10 hours in a day? A bunch more people put up their hands. How about 15 hours in a day? A bunch more people put up their hands. And he said, well, imagine this. Imagine if these people just worked 1 hour in their business. You would be able to work 3,069 hours per day, right? And then he took that number and he divided it by the average, which was 8. And, it was like you could work an extra 2 or 3 years type thing for 1 day of work. And it was shocking. And I thought to myself, oh my God, why don't more people know about this? This is phenomenal, right? And that's really what got me sold on this whole concept of this industry, was the concept of leverage and duplication, being able to get a little tiny bit off of a whole lot. And that totally changed my perspective. It was a complete reality shift for me and my reality. And of course, that very, very first company that I enrolled into was Amway, right? And, I thought to myself, like, this company, man, I'll tell you what, they got these phenomenal products. And that's when they were, they were promoting the laundry detergent and the soap and everything else. And I thought, oh my God, like, this is phenomenal, right? And all I got to do is get a couple of people, like, that's it, right? But lo and behold, to my shocking surprise, that when I took the concept out to my friends and family, basically they all told me to go fly a kite. And my whole dream was completely shattered, because what I thought was going to be super easy was actually really super hard in order to be able to do this industry. And I got to be honest with you, I was pretty deflated, because I came out of that meeting and I felt like I was Superman, right? Like I literally was already, thinking about what color of Lamborghini that I wanted, right? Because, I'm a young whippersnapper in my 20s. And I was so enamored by this concept. But when it really came down to the strategy that they were teaching me, it was a lot harder than what they sort of projected that it was going to be. But I realized at that point that if I really wanted to make big money, right? And that at that time, the guy on stage was making about $65,000 a month 30 years ago, right? So imagine, projected forward what that type of income would be today. And I realized if I wanted to make that type of money, I needed to be that guy on stage. I needed to be the guy in front of the room. And that's really where it all started for me, was at a hotel meeting.
Awesome, awesome. So you're also from Canada, right? You might have forgotten that part because I'm also from Canada, right?
Yeah, from
So where did
Vancouver.
you kind of grew up, and just to kind of give a backstory of where you're
Sure,
from?
sure. Well, I was
Uh,
born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and then we moved to Victoria. You know, my dad was with the Royal Bank, and we were sort of moving from place to place as he was promoted. And I went from Winnipeg to Victoria, Victoria to Coquitlam, and I pretty much grew up in Coquitlam in Vancouver, Canada. And you know, really sort of growing up throughout my life. I really had my favorite class in school was actually drafting, and I was sort of on a path to get into becoming an architect. And then what happened right at the point where I just graduated, the entire economy just went and dropped,
crash.
and the recession hit. And it was a really scary time because the interest rates went up to over 20%. And you know, I didn't really realize if I wanted to become an architect, I actually had to actually get an engineering degree. And quite frankly, there's no way that I want to do 7 years of university at that point in time. I was so done with school that I just took a little bit of break. And I ended up getting into graphics and visual design, which was kind of similar, you know, developing logos and campaigns and marketing and advertising. And that's what really put me onto the path of marketing and advertising was starting off in graphics and visual design. And right when I graduated, I actually launched my own advertising agency. And we were, you know, we came out of the gate and we were just like the talk of the town. And that's when the recession really dropped, right? Like, you know, there was front page Vancouver Sun and Province, advertisers buckle up, recession hits. And a lot of the companies would be coming to me to try to save them. And they would give me a 50% retainer to start. And by the time I finished the project, their company had gone under, and they would leave me with the printing bill. And it was just like a spiral until I ended up in my very first business losing everything. Right. That was sort of my very first introduction to being an entrepreneur, of going all in. And that was the first time on my path that I lost it all. I had to start all over again. Right. So, you know, going along my path, I thought to myself, you know, there's got to be a better way, right? There's got to be a better way. And I kept on reflecting back to that hotel meeting, and it kept on pulling me back into the network marketing industry. But it wasn't until I met this one particular millionaire mentor. Actually, I was in a lineup. Okay, get this. I'm in a lineup at one of these fast food kind of you know, Chinese restaurants where they've got all the things, and you say, I want one of those, one of these, one of these. And he came walking in the door, and his energy was just like bam,
Damn.
as he came walking in. You know, he had a really expensive suit on. You know, back at that time, you know, probably like a $3,000 or $4,000 suit. He had a Rolex watch on, super shiny shoes, very well manicured, but he lit up. Like he was like sunshine. You know, was his energy force. And he came over and he immediately changed my state. Right. He gave me a compliment on my tie or something like that. And then we got into just some casual conversation. And, you know, he says, you know, so what do you do around here? And I said, actually, I'm in marketing. Right. He goes, no way, I'm in marketing too. Right. So we had something in common. And then he started talking about this patented, as soon as he said the word patented, right? Patented technology. And right, it was like, you know, these positively charged oil molecules, and they would stick to metal. And this is before that product came out, the Slick 50, that you could run your engine forever. And this was just oil, right? It was just positive oil molecules.
Yeah.
And so they had all these different, you know, oil additives and transmission stuff. And run flat tires, and it was all military. I had this whole military thing around. I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable, right? So he said, come up to my office sometime and I'll show you more about what we do. So we went up to his office, and he showed me the product. He showed me the presentation. He said, Darren, so based upon what you've seen and heard here, can you see an opportunity here? Now, my mind was racing, right? I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna make millions off this thing. It's unbelievable. So I said, well, yeah, I'm definitely interested. What does it cost to be able to work with you? And he says, well, if you want to work with me, it's going to cost $4,000. Now keep in mind, $4,000 that long ago was about like $15,000 today. And I didn't have the money, right? Right? And I probably had, like, in my savings account at that time, maybe like $1,200 or something like that. So my stomach literally kind of dropped, right? And I thought, oh my God, like, how am I ever going to come up with $4,000? And he said to me, Darren, if you're really serious, right, you'll find a way. If you really have a dream, you'll find a way, right? And I'm going to give you 3 days to come up with that money. And we're standing in this hallway, and he looks at me in the eye, and he says, truth be known, Darren, if you can't step into your personal power and go find the money, you're never going to make it in this industry anyway, right? This industry is about personal power and leadership, right? And he looks at me in the eye, and he says, and I only work with winners. And he turns around and he walks away, right? Literally just leaves me standing in the middle of the hallway in the office, and he goes in his office, he shuts the door, right? So, now keep in mind, millionaire mentors aren't like raining from the sky when you're, 20 some odd years old. And yeah. I knew at that point in time that I had to pull this off. I had to do this, so I, had to obviously surrender my pride and my ego, because obviously the first people I was going to go to was my parents, but they would only match whatever I was going to put in. So if I put in 1,200, they would put in 1,200. Well, I was still short, right? So I took a loan from the bank, a loan from my parents. I drained my bank account to zero. I had no money left, and I went all in completely on my dream. Thankfully, quite honestly, because what I learned during that time with that millionaire mentor completely, totally changed my life. And my very, very first month following his teachings, I did $40,000 in sales.
Wow.
And from then on, everything totally transformed. And by the time I hit 35, I'd made my first $1 million. So it's been an exciting journey, let me tell you. But if I had known going in, right, that the industry really is about personal development, right? It's not about pitching something and if I got a deal for you, check out my deal, right? That's not the industry. And I had to be completely retrained, literally, right? Because I came from that features and benefits, convincing or pitching people on a business. And what I found was that didn't work. It just didn't work in our industry, right? So, and the more that you try to convince a person, the more that they push back, right? And you end up with this, right? It just didn't work. So, it was like, we sat in his office this one day. I remember when I the very first day that I actually brought my $4,000 check in, he had this big, huge office, and we sat down and I signed my distributor application form and I slid it across the table. And he said, Darren, you want to become a millionaire? Absolutely, I do. Right? He says, how serious are you on a scale from 1 to 10? I said, I'm 100, right? I'm 100. He says, okay, well, there's 2 rules that I'm going to share with you. The first rule is I don't want you talking about our company, right? Now, I thought it was because they had patents, right? I thought that was the reason. Well, they got these patents. Maybe it's top secret and we can't talk about the company, right? And I said, okay. He said, the second rule is I don't want you talking about our products. Now, when he told me that, my stomach dropped literally to my knees. And I thought, oh my God, we must be doing something illegal. Like, how would that even be possible? How could I sell this, whatever the thing is, without ever talking about the company that manufactured it and without ever talking about the actual product itself. And I said, well, Harvey, if I can't talk about the company and I can't talk about products, what the heck am I supposed to talk about? He said, Darren, if you want to become a millionaire, you're going to talk about them. And I was like, what? So you're telling me that you want me to sell this stuff and you think if I talk about them that I'm going to be able to sell this? He said, yep, just be coachable. And I had to do a complete shift in thinking because I didn't get it, right? He said, Darren, you're going to have to go through something called a paradigm shift, right? And I didn't even know what that was, right? I had no idea what a paradigm was. And I said, well, what exactly does that mean? He says, well, let me ask you a question. What's behind you right now? And I said, the wall. He said, can you see the wall? And I said, no, right? He goes, turn your chair around. So I turned the chair all the way around. And he said, can you see the wall now? Yeah, I can see the wall. Well, the wall was there all the time. You just couldn't see it. So you're going to have to start to look at this shift differently to understand how this actually works. And lo and behold, Billy, I was shocked when I started to do this, that the more that I was, if somebody asked me about my business, I would turn it around and I would ask them about their family or how did they get their start or, what nationality were they? Or I would just turn the whole thing around. And by the time we were finished our conversation, they literally would be almost like pulling out their credit card. They wouldn't even know what business I'm in, what products I sold, what I did, nothing. But they would have this magnetic pull to want to do business with me. Like, hey, Darren, really enjoyed our conversation. Maybe there's some way we can work together. It was a phenomenon. Quite frankly, I was shocked to see it work. And I just kept on following what he told me to do. And I got better and better and better at it over time until, I took those skills and I transferred them over into venture capital, launching my own businesses, hiring management teams, and, board of directors, getting sponsors, getting people to give me stuff for free. I mean, it shocked me. But that really was the foundational principles that totally changed everything in my business, everything, and put me on the path to make millions and millions of dollars.
Nice. Awesome. So I was going to ask you, is that what you discovered that really took you from getting, mediocre, like almost no results to getting the big results, right? Is that what you discovered that really got you to being over here to over there, right?
Yeah, that really was sort of the foundation, was that, there's a saying that, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And what people don't really get about our industry is that it's really a problem-solving business model. Right. Well,
Yes.
that's not a cookie cutter formula, right? Because every person's going to be different. Every person's going to have a different problem. They're going to have a different vision, a different dream, different pain. And until you can actually, connect with the person and find out more about them and where they're currently at right now and what their vision is, how could you tell them that you have something that they need when you don't even know what they want, right?
Exactly.
It's not possible, right? So you can't just take a round peg and jam it into a square hole. It won't fit, right? You have to really, that's why this is really a people business. It's all about the people, right? It's nothing to do with your company and products. It really has to do with people. And if you can get good at people, that's when you start making some really big money, right? But, Tom might be looking at making money because his parents are ill, or, he may have just gotten laid off, or, he may have just gotten a divorce, or, maybe he's in a custody battle. something might be going on in Tom's life that's different than Susan's life. It's different than Bill's life. It's different than Betty's life. Everybody's going to be different. And until you can really find out about that person, you really can't tell them that you have something that's going to solve their pain. And people buy truthfully on emotion, right? And if you can help them to solve that pain that they're in and move them from pain to pleasure, now you have leverage, right? And that's really the key. And truth be known, when I do live recruiting and I actually show people step by step the psychology behind this, and they watch it happening live, right? And I'll explain all the way through as I'm going what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. They are shocked. Okay.
I was shocked myself. The first time I saw it, I was like mind blown.
Yeah, they look at the chat, and there's not a single mention of any company. There's not a single mention of any products, any patents, any track record, any management team, any ORAC value or antioxidants or whatever. And people will witness somebody pull out a credit card and, spend anywhere from $1,350 all the way up to $10,000, right? Without me talking about a single thing, except for them. And it
was amazing the first time that I saw that.
When I tell the story, still to this day, some 30 years later, it blows me away. Quite frankly, it blows me away how powerful that this really is, and that people will actually pay because they believe, right, that you have the ticket to the promised land and that you can truly help them. Now, keep in mind, you got to be able to help the person, right?
Yeah,
You can't use these strategies just to take people's money and then never deliver, right? Especially when we're talking about online, right? Because stuff goes like wildfire across the internet. So it's very, very important that once people learn these strategies, that they use them for good and not for bad, right? And that you really come from honesty, integrity, and really coming from wanting to help people. That's really the core foundation of it all.
Boom. That was awesome right there. This was part of the interview, like I said, that will be on the 7-Figure Minds project that will be available at the 7figureminds.com. We just went pretty long there. I think it was like an hour and almost 30 minutes. I'm not going to put all of it on here, but just with what I shared with you, you can get some value, and hopefully you took notes on what he shared. So that was my friend Tor, my mentor and friend, Darren Little, responsible for my Ultimate Breakthrough Online. So if you got some value, of course, leave me a feedback. Leave me a review, especially if you're tuned in on iTunes, right? That will really, really help my podcast get out there. I really wanted to be of help for anybody that will listen to it. If you are on Google Play, I invite you to subscribe. Also on iTunes, right? You can go ahead and subscribe. And if you're tuning in anywhere else, maybe YouTube, you can also subscribe there and hit the bell icon to get notifications on your device for as soon as I upload new episodes. You also get emails. And I want to say that I really appreciate you. If you're listening to Affiliate Marketing Secrets Radio, I really appreciate you. And like I said in the past, you can also leave me some questions that you want answered on some of the future episodes on here by going to affiliatemarketingsecretsradio.com. You can opt in there, and on the thank you page, you will be able to record a short question for me that I will be able to answer for you on some of the future episodes of Affiliate Marketing Secrets Radio. So, Billy Nellis here. I'm signing out, and I'll talk to you on the next episode.
Do you want to know how to set up any affiliate marketing business online the right way without being tech savvy? Go to affiliatemarketingsecretsradio.com and get access to the free 5 video series on how to do that right now.